Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrew. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. Day in the office continues. This is January 20th, 2026 at approximately 3:30 p.m. As I've mentioned before, I do intend on being on here by 4. We end at 5, but there are days like today when I'm on here a little early. So this really boils down to my puttering around here and making certain I get things organized, which, by the way, is a bit of a challenge on occasion, in case you haven't noticed. There's been a lot of, shall we say, chaos today. This probably doesn't help, but what the heck. Not to worry, just Coke. Nothing extra to it. Although, the way things have been going, that may not be the best thing for me. But let's get started, shall we? Like I said, when you wander in here, speaking of wandering in, Operation, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are actually in with the gold. Hopefully it's been a better day than mine. So far it's setting up right. This morning I just had a, shall we say, a meltdown when I woke up. Primarily because things just got out of hand. I'm really running into a lot of trouble with this whole idea of the obstacles I end up with. On the plus side, I did pay my credit card off today, which wasn't much to it, and the reality is, from my standpoint, that I take a look at it and go, if I can keep that being reduced to a minimum, then I'm ahead of the game. So, what do we got here? Oh, yes. While I was out today, I did manage to get the name because, think, then speak. I've gone through absolute chaos in the last 4 years. And I finally reached a point where I said enough is enough. So I had a long conversation with my eldest son. And he turned around and really told me what it boiled down to was I'm going to have to concentrate on the things I can control and just let go of the ones I really have no impact on. So that's why I'm doing it that way at this point. One of the biggest things I've got to do here is make absolutely certain, where to put it, get that up out of the way. I've got to make absolutely certain I get things organized here. I have no idea what that's for, so that's okay. What do we got? Oh. So, that worked well. Okay. What is going on? Hello. Oh, really should take a look at that one. This, the reality is, when you look at your own world, I've made a habit of avoiding information, hoping this is what I think. Oh, okay. That's cute. Why they would send that to me is anybody's guess, because I don't have one anymore. That's already been dealt with. I think I'll take that back down. That's got to be by January 2nd, 31st, so I'll be going there anyway. What we do is we pop that in. And this is a piece of mail I wasn't expecting, but one that is probably pointless. So, pop that back in there. And it can go in this. Okay, now, yes, I am turning my back to things. Primarily because of the fact that, well, too many things on the go in the first place. So, that goes there. This list here, and that was from yesterday, I think. Yep. So that can go. Now, okay, the neat part about all this is I'm just simply looking at my office desk and going, what do I got to deal with? Because I don't have the big calendar on the desktop anymore. I've changed it a little. My ex-wife actually got me this neat little calendar. It is working like a charm. Also takes up a lot less room, but it's still hard copy. You know, for me, that is literally the important factor. So, that will go there. And what do we got here? Look, gravity works. Okay. So we take a look at the desktop here. That's the things I'm working on. That can go there. This is the other one of those. So that's over there. And, oh. Wonder how well that works. Okay, don't need that. Those will go to recycling when I'm done the stream today. So, office desk is clear on that end, all that end. So that works out well. What's this one? Oh. Don't know what I'm doing with those yet. Okay, office desk is completely clear of what I can do. What is this? Okay. Okay. That was the restaurant. I've already marked that down. No, I don't think I did. Best be getting on there. There we are. Okay. Now, like I said, I just got out. I ended up spending money on my credit card, which is okay. I paid it off completely to start with. You know, that is the first thing that you look at. If you're going to use a credit card, it's absolutely necessary to get it paid. Now, I did not make a whole lot of money on the money I left there. But it has been paid entirely, but also on the 29th. So it says 29th, I paid that. But I also charged, where are we? That's been calculated. This one, where is it? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. This should be. Yep. Okay. Whoop, that's one. Today is only the 20th. Whoop, just checking to make sure I didn't miss something here. Whoop. If my hands work better, I'd be playing that. But apparently that is not a functional option. Ah, did so. Okay. That's been dealt with. And more to the point, it's there. As long as it's paid, I'll be happy. Okay, so that goes there. That is that one itself, and this should be. Where's this one? Okay. Where did the other one go? Okay, gonna have to check it out. Oh, wonder if I put it there. Must have left it up front. Okay. Put my eyeballs back on so I figure out what I did with them. There we go. So, that can sit there. Office is sorted around as far as that goes, and that's extremely important. That I'm gonna have to put. I've got a lockdown on my internet connection. So, but I got looking at it, and after the meltdown this morning, had a rather intense, very important conversation with my eldest son, and as he pointed out, the world is a mess, and therefore, since it's all gone sideways, the only functional option I've got is to concentrate on the things I do have control of. Net result, when I went out today, I did design my I did design the covers for the next 3 books. And that is kind of an important factor from my end. What we got here? Am I missing anything? Not by the look of it. By the way, just to be clear, tonight on Positive Perceptions at 8 p.m. Pacific, we will be discussing how to cope with a narcissist. Okay? Because the reality of it is they are a royal pain to deal with, especially if you've got no understanding of what they are. Now, I'm no clinician. I am not a, if you will, licensed therapist per se. I'm an intuitive one. Oh, who came in? Oh. There we are. There we go. Okay. I am going to have to, what is it? 9:10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Solid number, cell number. To be aired on this station and can be listened to via streaming. I'll also send you a recording after the show. Bonus! So I do have a show tomorrow, and I'm not entirely certain how I go about this, so I'll figure that out. I am going live. Tomorrow is my weekend, but I just got a confirmation letter from the host. Don't know which way he's going to go with it. So let's get that answered. Okay. Now, what am I looking at here? Go back to the stream. There we are. I do apologize. Really, what to apologize for? As per usual, I'm a little scattered, but at least I'm making headway. I forgot to make that call. I can't do it. Yeah, we're 4 o'clock. I won't be making that call today. Where are we here? Now, office desk is sorted out, but what I do have to do is look at this. I'm pretty certain I put a credit card line. Yeah. Okay. See where I filed. There we are. This file here. On the credit card. Did this to make sure I had a place to put these. That didn't go in there this time. Now, grab that one. Cowie, how we doing? Glad you could join us. You are in with the silver today. Things are a little scattered here at this point, but at least I know what I'm up to. That goes there. Where's that? These are the ones that I have to make sure I deal with. See, now here's how you work with a credit card. I put some money, I put some charges on my credit card on the new one recently. Okay. But I just paid it off this morning, so I'm paying no interest on that. And these two, this bill that I just put here, I have to, I've got to make sure I pay it on time. But for the moment, it gets popped back in there. That one I will deal with as soon as I get done. I'll take a look at that. Credit card. Okay. Fact of the matter is, when you've got a credit card, okay, this is how I earn money on it. Not a lot, okay, but you know the old saying: a penny earned, a penny saved is a penny earned. With a credit card, usually you got 3 weeks leeway, or what they call 3 weeks grace period, whereby if you pay it, you don't have to pay interest. Now that said, okay, check the details on your own credit card. It may not be 3 weeks. I don't know for certain. I don't know what all the credit cards do. But when you put money on it, mark it down. Okay, mark down the day you put the money on it. Somewhere between a week and 2 weeks later, pay the credit card off. Connie, how we doing? Glad you could join us. You are actually in with the bronze. Not been around it's been a rough start, to be honest, but I hope yours has gone well. I do now have a definitive battle plan for how I'm going about things. You see, let's bring that up. The reality of it is this. If you get your head on straight, if you decide, what's that? If you get your head on straight and you get a goal in mind as to how you're going to do things and stay on track, never mind what anybody else expects. Okay, stay on track for yourself, and you will be a whole lot happier. The fact of the matter is, this year I came to a number of conclusions to start the year off. Okay, and to begin with, we go with the idea that I am absolutely intent on making certain that I am on the upswing, that every one of them, that my bank account climbs by a minimum of 0.01, of 1 penny per month. This is not much, but a 1 penny rise is better than a dollar drop. Okay, and that's the whole kicker to it. Is you've got to stay on track as how you're doing it. Whoops, that was wrong. That is not where that went, because I don't track that one. Of course. But I do have a plan. I just did a look at my income today. My income and my living expenses, and my living expenses and my income. Oh, Ferret, nice to see you. I mean, let's face it, we know who Ferret is, and I agree, you haven't been around much. Ultimately, Ferret, that's exactly what I just did. I paid off. I had a little bit because I bought groceries on the credit card. I just paid the bill off. So it went down to zero right away. This, from a credit standpoint, looks a lot better than running a balance. And I've got enough money coming in. The stuff I put on today, I'll be able to clear. So now what I do is just keep moving forward with that. But as soon as I get done this stream, I will be drawing up a description for my artist in England. That way I can actually get the covers for books 4, 5, and 6 done. Now the sad part is I let my world go into an absolute tailspin based on somebody else's actions. I'm no longer willing to tolerate that of myself. Although I use the term tolerate a little loosely. Ultimately I had a collapse today. Way too much of a struggle. And I've just reached the end of my rope with a lot of it. So now it's just a question of making things happen. Nope, don't do that. If you spill that, we're both in trouble. The unfortunate reality of the way my world's been going is that I have a lot of complications to come in. But the good news is, now that I've got the extra little bit of leeway, the other 2 credit cards I've got, I will start to write off. I figured it out. Let's try it this way. If I take the 1, put that one, divide that by. It'll take me to get debt free on my current income, assuming my sales don't go up, assuming I don't do better at sales. And by the way, last year with minimal effort, I managed to bring in just shy of $3,000. So this is not a great number. But when people tell me that that YouTube is not monetized, I have been virtually strictly advertising through YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. With that in mind, I've turned around and managed to bring that in. So let's see if we go ignoring the one source income that came to a close. Take that, divide by 12. Yeah. Okay. That's, what is that? That's gotta be where I got the other. Yeah. Okay. So, if I ignore the 1,000 from one source and just look at books and consultation on the private side, I made about $150 a month extra. Now, that per year, per month. Now, that was an average over the year. Now, what this means to me is it pays the minimum payment on my one credit card. By taking that number into consideration, we go times 12. There we are. I should be able to bring that one credit card down a fair chunk. Buy about $1,800 this month. But I've got to stay on top of things. And again, now I've got a limit set here. Okay, as in I'm going to be putting 150 a month into this one credit card. If I spend nothing on it, I'll be down 1,500 by the end of the year. Okay, but when you're doing that, you lay out what you're aiming for, and then if you spend money, if you spend money on a credit card, pay that off in addition to the minimum that you're looking at. Okay, divide by, that'll take about 4 years, but I'm going to end up, that's not going to work well. That's going to take me some time because the way I look at it is this. Okay, not surprising there. With a day in the office, quite often I end up talking to myself a lot, but that's okay. This simply focuses me on what I have to get done in the office, making it a static line. Okay. Now, that works out well. Oh, I should take a look at, where are we? Go back to that. And we double check, see if we got anything that came in today. On my email, that is. Yeah, knew that. Okay. Those, let's see, I don't need to worry about that one, or that one, or that. Those can all be deleted and I don't have to worry about them. Go to my other email. This is the thing with joining me here in the office. I go through things and make absolutely certain I've got everything out of the way that I need out of the way. Okay, that's been read. What's that one? I gotta take a look at some of those, but that's gonna have to wait. Okay. Now again, guys, if you've got a question, absolutely ask. Right now, I'm literally focusing on making certain that I get things moving in the right direction. Now, let's bring bring them off as Word so I can get things, because today is the 20th. So, open. Open. Of course, nothing matches there. Going there. And we look at, coming down to Positive Perspectives, January 2026. This is the free magazine I was referring to. So let us see where we are. Karmic laws get explained. That's probably going to be in there regularly. I don't know yet. Paranormal. Okay. Where do I have? Oh, there we are. Okay, let us see what we got. Pop back over here for half a second. You know, one of the neat things I look at, I mean, I'm sitting here, absolutely. I keep coming back, so if I'm delayed at answering a question or acknowledging the fact you arrived, just understand I've only got one monitor on this computer, and therefore I have to change channels on it on occasion. So we take a look, and that's for 2026. So we have numerology is intro and number one. These are things I'm working on at the same time. Now then, let me blow that up a little. Then we take a look at that. We're not going to include this time. I do believe. First thing we got to look at. Okay. Numerology has to be done. I think what we'll do is just leave that there and take the chakras enhanced out of it. No, probably leave the chakras enhanced in it. But what I have done, entertainment. Okay. So we do have that's numerology. Entertainment is Wolfpack people. Because I am finally getting focused on what I've got to do. Intro one. Wolfpack. Jeremiah. Let me scroll down. Sports. Now, what did I have laid out for aliens? That is a good question. Really have to get a little better organized here. In case you haven't noticed, that's not exactly a strong suit for the moment. What is this? Oh, okay. This stuff all comes here. And let's pop in. And where are we? Philip, how we doing? Glad you could join us. And we have, let's see. We had Operation with the gold. Cowie came in with the silver. Then we had Ferret came in with the bronze. And this means that you, Philip, came in with honorable mention. You know, and I mean, that's sort of a carryover from Positive Perception, which we will be coming online tonight for. Now, this is the last I knew. Now, get this. You know, and definitely hats off to her. A friend of mine, okay, and in all honesty, I don't know if you'd call her a friend or an acquaintance, but she used to be a waitress. okay, she got into the MMA circuit. She has recently put that on hold and is now in April becoming a member of the Edmonton Police Force. Now, can you picture the problem the thugs in Edmonton are going to run into with an MMA fighter coming to collect them if they push the limits? You know, this is one of those things that's just a phenomenal step against them. But definitely a hats off to them. What did we get here? I wish chakras were more common in common terms and phrases as English speakers. Heart chakra is one of the few we commonly refer to. Absolutely, Philip. And you just answered a question for me. Okay. Now, people have asked me why I don't go to a Reiki master. Well, here's the thing. Most of the Reiki masters, okay, and that answered that. Most Reiki masters deal with 7 chakras. Okay. The really good ones deal with 9. Okay. Now get this. I deal with, let me do a quick count here. That's in this book here. Positive, there we are. Let me just double check the count. All the way up here. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay. That's 19. So I deal with 50 major chakras. Okay. And with that in mind, I think that's all. There might be a couple more. I got to go back through the list before I go to print. But with that in mind, in the free magazine, in Positive Perspectives, okay. Whoop. Uh-oh. In Positive Perspectives, I will be detailing over the next several months. Well, you think about it, I'm looking at this magazine going big. It is free. There's no question there. Okay, it only gets delivered by email, okay, by request. So if you go to the link at the top of the screen, the buymeacoffee.com/innervoicej, you can ask for a copy of Positive Perspectives, the free magazine. In it, I will be dealing every month with a new chakra. Okay. Now, some of the chakras there's more than one. There's 30. I've got 31 months of different chakras, so about 2.5 years here. Okay, where every month I'll be adding I'll be covering a new chakra. Now what is this here? Phil's just going, I like Warrior. Yeah, they are. And the neat part with this young lass, okay, is I figure, and I already know she was above board to start with. So, in my opinion, the police department did a fabulous job in taking her on. Okay, but boy, talk about the unfortunate thug that decides he's going to try and pick a fight with her. This is not going to end well, at least not for them. But no, I will be dealing with the chakras, and now that I've decided on that, let's mark it down so I don't forget. Let's see. 10. Now, the other neat little thing, okay, since we brought up the topic of chakras, something else. Well, there we go. You know, um, since chakras, we know they apply to the body, but what most people don't realize is they also apply to the house or the business. And I'm going to cover the same aspect. There aren't as many chakras in a business, but there are some pretty cut and dried ones that we are going to be covering because the idea here is simple. Okay, and bear in mind, I'm going to cover these over the next couple of years. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to be expanding them into a booklet. Now, if there are 31, we can look at a booklet that's going to be close to 40 pages. That is just going to cover the chakras. Okay, this will be an enhanced version of them. And yes, we will discuss, as we're going through it, we will discuss exactly what you do with each one of them. Okay, but that is not for right now. I haven't, like, that's what I'm working on. And in the next couple of week or so, I will start talking about them here. Now, yeah, Phil goes, it's unwise to pick a fight with a warrior sage. This is one of the things. When we take a look at the Elderbachian Chronicles, Jeremiah, the lead character, the lead protagonist, is, shall we say, he will talk to anybody. Okay, you really don't want to cross it. Okay, primarily because he will only take so much, and then you're in trouble. But there's a lot of people going to be added to that. And again, that can be ordered straight through the Buy Me a Coffee link. Last year, I managed to, with minimal advertising, I managed to get, a little bit of income. This year, I intend on doing a lot more advertising. I've already started with that idea. Okay, and it just boils down to making absolutely certain I stay on top of the track. Now, that I don't know what I'm doing with yet. I'm not going to get rid of it because this is something that was a friend of mine. Okay, and where did we go here? Oh yes, these little files here. What do we got? Very definitive habit of mine. Taking a whole pile of paperwork, whole pile of what you call it, scrap paper, and putting it to use. And that's all that. Because I'm a firm believer that while I'm disposing of stuff, I make absolutely certain that I get on track with it. Okay. What's that? Auto insurance, that should go up top here. Okay. So, there we go. Whoop, don't have one of those. I really have to do something about my amount of floor space there. But I am working on that. So, and okay, hopefully that'll work. Get that out of the way. And we go. Okay. And we can now pop that. That's file for all insurance. So it goes back under insurance here. Gets popped there. And that solves me a whole lot of hassles. Now, where am I? Like it shows here, like I'm looking at numbers. As a matter of fact, I should really take a look at that and see what I'm up to. I go to there and pop YouTube open. I can take a look at my site, at my own site, and see how many I've got. As far as subscribers, it was 714 yesterday. I'm betting that's all it is. There we are. Nope, 713, but it does fluctuate. So I don't worry too much about that. The fact of the matter is, I'm doing this because it helps keep me focused and getting something done. Now, okay. Those are from yesterday. Yep. That. Yes. Does this have anything on it? Nope. So it can be disposed of. And again, I take scrap paper and I recycle it because of the fact that frankly no point in putting it in the garbage. Although at least with paper, if you put it in the garbage, it is 100%. It is 100% biological, biodegradable. Now, do I have that page open? That's Positive Perspectives, which I'm going through, but I also have to get. Let's see. Open that. And we go meet the Udina. We will start working on that today. Okay. Nope, that was wrong. No, it wasn't. There we are. So we go. Save that. So that will get done as soon as I get done this stream. But in the meantime, let's go back here. And where are we here? I thought about that. And, the reality is I've been burned so often. I don't know exactly how to go about that. I already dealt with one major company that said they were going to help. And what it ended up doing was shafting me. But I do appreciate the thought. Sooner or later something will happen. Until then, because the Ildebakian Chronicles, there are actually 12 in all. I've got 2 of them done. The third one, 4 years ago, I ran into a problem where I went into a severe depression and haven't written a thing since. So the whole thing has gotten scrambled. And now I'm trying to get back on track. But, the reality of it is, I can safely say that with the genre that the Ildebakian Chronicles fall into, I don't know much about R.R. Martin. Okay. But with Stephen King, I don't know exactly. Like I really haven't looked into a lot of it, but it is something to consider. I know that the companies I've dealt with that are actual marketing companies have been absolutely a complete flop. Tens of thousands of dollars spent, and not so much as one inquiry. So at this point, I'm looking at it going, I will have to deal with things on a slow but steady pace. You know, the way I figure it, last year, actually, I should check and see that, what I ended up with so far. This year, if we go to IBE, there we are. Okay, we ended up with 100 and, oh, there we are. Let's see. We go there, we got 83.99. Whoop. Okay. Jump, Jimmy. Plus 20, plus 120. Okay, now, last year I averaged 150 a month. Okay, January I've already got 200, so I'm already ahead of the game. This is not a bad thing for me. Okay, but I definitely appreciate the idea. You know, and I will have to do some looking into that and see where it leads. Because I do know I'm very edgy about a lot of things, and I know that's counterproductive. But since every time I've turned around and done something, I've ended up getting the short end of the stick. To me, it's understandable why, why I am, to say the least, probably way beyond borderline paranoid. You know, but I am very protective. This is what I call my life's work, and that's why I'm very, very reticent to do a lot of things. Sooner or later, something is going to pop, and I'll be able to actually think straight. Right now, that is not looking all that promising. What did I do with my? Told you it's not looking promising. Okay. Now, let's do this. Okay, got that there. Okay, these two. There are other pictures. There we go. Now, go back into this. And pop that in there. Okay. That gets another one filed out of the way where it belongs. Those I will take up front afterwards. That stuff is garbage. Okay. So, got that sorted around. Now, where am I here? Oh, look at that. We are heading along very nicely. Not that exciting, really. Where are we? Authors and their readers aren't names. Most of the business people will be normies. Say Levine. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. The fact of the matter is that when I do agree with you. Most of the people working are straight. They're just straight simple people. But I may well be my own worst enemy in this case. But after thousands of dollars, I'm running so tight to the wire right now that I have to do things where I've got to make certain I protect what is mine I do want this to get out. Don't get me wrong. And but it's a pain in the neck on occasion trying to fight your own fears. In case you haven't pieced that together. Like I said, I'm not anything special from that standpoint. But it is one of these things that I have to look at and go, what am I doing with it? Ultimately, I desire to get all of them done. Because like I said, there's 12 in all. I've got the covers to the next 4 done. And I'm about to send, like today, I will write up the cover for an actual book 4. And I've got book 4, 5, and 6 already designed. I just have to send the info in. Now, where am I here? That is there. Okay, chakras I will be going through today. They will be added. And then, do I have anything here? Oh, I don't know if I marked that down. Somewhere around here, I've got a list of them. Okay. But go back here. The fact of the matter is, I know how to write. I did find my editor in chief, also known as my wife, has a staggering ability to make sure things are continuous. Are actually balanced. That's it. Okay, that is absolutely garbage. That one I can't get rid of because it's got information I don't know what it's for. Oh, I think I did that there. Nope, that's all garbage. Okay, that's good. So, let us see here. I think what we'll do, where is the meat? This one. Open, go down to meat. What did I do there? Okay, don't know where that is, so let's take a look at it this way. And we scroll down to active documents. I do not have them here. Okay. Oh, there. That's what I needed. I want this one open. Which dialog box is open? Okay. That was what I needed. Open that. Now let's minimize that. And we'll close that one down. And what do we got here? Okay. Phil's just letting us know here. Therapist who wrote the go-to book on Asperger's. His daughter works in the music business down in Australia. She's a huge asset to this particular business. She understands the music talent. From everything she's learned growing up in a family where her dad is the world's leading Asperger's healer. This musician is crazy. Send them to Aspie Whisperer. And it's an idea. It's funny. I actually went to a psychiatrist to find out what was wrong with me, and I was looking for anything. You know, apparently my mind is working perfectly fine, except it's not. You know, there is a lot of things that do not add up for me. They just don't make sense. Like how people can treat each other so poorly and not recognize they're doing it. Which is why tonight we will be looking at how to deal with a narcissist. And do understand, narcissists are simple. They're pretty certain everything revolves around them, and they're responsible for nothing. Yeah, Phil goes, yep, there's something wrong with normal. There is. And in all fairness, I don't find a problem with it. I just find it's kind of like following lemmings off a cliff. And, I like the image I got shown one day. Every 4 years, the lemmings, their food source goes sour, and they go running off the cliff. But every out of that, you get a few of them, a small percentage, that stop their run and go, wait a minute, everybody's running off the cliff there. I'm going over this other direction. The funny thing, hey Woo, how we doing? Glad you could join us. You know, every in order for the population to survive, there is a small percentage of lemmings that change direction and don't jump off the cliff. Right? Now, whether this is because they are immune to the poison, and I liken the poison in a lemming's food source to the poison that we have of the amount of negativity being broadcast around the world by social media, the so-called spiritual guides, the CEOs of major mogul companies, the pharmaceuticals, and the governments. Okay, there is so much poison being shoved out there. There are a very few of us that actually look at it and go, I'm not buying it, but thanks very much. Appreciate the offer. I happen to be one of those. Okay, but I really am tired of picking up the mess at the bottom of the cliff. So from my standpoint, I'm just doing my best to turn the light on so people realize there's another road you can go down. Just off to the side of the cliff. If you really want to get down there is a staircase going down. Honestly, Philip, it was funny when you bring the Matrix up. It was brought to my attention when it first came up years ago. Okay, and I was told literally to watch the movie because Neo, the prime character, actually reminded them of me altogether, or I reminded them of Neo. And I do not see myself as any better than anybody else. I just don't buy into a lot of stuff. Now, if I could get my temper to cooperate, that would be great. Unfortunately, at this point, that has not been a real viable option, as evidenced by the situation this morning. Now, what do we got here? We got no new emails there. Got to deal with that because we didn't. What is that? Oh, that shows me I'm looking at 713. That won't change anytime soon, but we'll see what happens. I'm starting to advertise, which is obvious, because I'm already only on the third week, and I've already made a better turnaround than I did last month or last year. Barrett, where are we? Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Philip. The neat little thing from all of what I'm looking at is when we work together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. But it's going to take work. It's going to take concentration. And I'm telling you, starting at home is a big part of it. What is all of this? I don't even know what that is. Really? That I'm not impressed with. This here was what? I'm just looking at what I wrote here. Oh, okay. Different list of articles I got to deal with. Actually, that's not a bad idea. That's a whole list of things to work with, so I will deal with that. Whoop. See what we got going on. You know, one of the things that I'm looking at is I've got all this stuff I'm aiming at working through. There is so much of it that is just twisted sideways. That's a poem from a very long time ago, so let's put that there. What are these covering? Hmm. I'll take a look at that, see if I can do anything with it. These ones. Okay. That. Whoops. That was part of the. These. Oh! That's what all this is. Those are terms from the Ildebakian Chronicles. This. Wonder if I got that whole thing. I think these are all Ildebakian Chronicle stuff. What I where are we here? Okay. I'm just looking at this. There's a book here that Philip is mentioning called, let's see, it's Dr. Gabor Mate's book, The Myth of Normal. Okay, he co-wrote it with his son. Now, now, I got tested for ADHD, and I swear I don't have ADHD for one reason. Apparently, with ADHD, there is a major problem in completing things. I don't have a problem with completing it, aside from the fact that I have a tendency of getting too many things on the go at the same time. Oh, well, didn't expect that. But yeah, this is all. Let's see here. Pop those back here when they were. Yep. I'll have to go through those and sort them out. But it would seem that I've got a whole pile of extra data that I lost track of. And like I said, 4 years ago with the Ildebakian Chronicles, I let myself go into an absolute flaming tailspin. Now I've got to go through it and sort it out. Now, not a fun run, but a very necessary one at this stage. What do we got here? You know, the thing is, like when I got tested for it, I was told by a psychiatrist that if you're finishing things of your own accord, then you don't have ADHD. Now, whether that is right or not is anybody's guess. Somebody else gets to figure the rest of that out. I look at it this way. I've learned to cope. This does not mean that I'm right and that they were right on the diagnosis, but I found a way to deal with it. You know, one of the things I've always looked at is where do I go from here? Okay. Gonna have to look at that. That is different species I got. I told you I had notes on things. Ooh. Intriguing. Forgot about them. All kinds of interesting notes that has to do with both the Elderbachian Chronicles and, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take all of this up front onto my table after I'm done and get them sorted out. See what I've got going there. You know, one of the things I look at is I've got so much on the go here that I've got to pare it down. Because if I don't, I'm going to run into all kinds of problems. Now, do I have that? We go file, open, and where is it? Inactive documents, that's what need to be there. I mean, evolution. Okay. This is a whole pile of topics. So I got a whole whack of them here to deal with. Okay, we can deal with that afterwards. But my list here. Let's do this. Of course, once I'm done here, I will have to go make certain I do something about supper. You know, both for my youngest and for my boys and for my wife. Now, yeah, somebody could possibly have supper dealt with. But I'm taking a look at this going, I'm going to get myself sorted around and back on track. I just haven't quite figured out how I'm doing and exactly how long it's going to take yet. You know, but where is this? Do believe January we're going to pop the reticulins in. Go back. Keep having to take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. Sounds really backwards, but it's actually pretty accurate. So go there. Coping thoughts to take the attaining success. Oh yes. Well, we are dealing with language. Yep. Today is Tuesday, so that means my weekend I've got a lot of writing to do. But unless I focus on what I can do instead of on where I got set back, I'm in serious trouble. You know, that's just the reality of it. And in all fairness, every one of us can look in the mirror and go, I wish I had done this. I should have done this better. You know, if I had not let myself get caught up in what went wrong, I would have frankly been in a lot better shape. You know, what went wrong 4 years ago. Now I've got my back to the wall and I'm going, okay, I either take control of it and make things happen, or I completely fold. And I'll tell you, it was a real toss up today how I was going to look at things. But, where am I here? Time's at 4:51. Maybe I should have this. Yep. We go here. Here we are. I'm down to the last few minutes here. But like I said, I get in here, and this literally boils down to making sure I focus on getting things in the office done, which I've done a fair chunk of, in all fairness. You know, so that is kind of a critical issue from my standpoint. You know, tonight when I come back, I will be dealing with how to cope with narcissists. Now, the reality is, I've dealt with them all my life. Okay. And there's some pitfalls people fall into, myself included. Okay. Because you got to remember, what you've got to look at is what is working for you. Are you content with you? Now, I'm happy with the way my office is set up right now. This here is simply scrap paper that I work with, so I can write and jot things down and get them dealt with. Okay. But that can all go to the garbage as time goes on. This stack here, as it turns out, is a combination of information on different races, which go into Races of the World, and the Elderbachian Chronicles. Because we got to remember, with the Races of the World, these right now I've got 60 in a book, Races of the World. I'm working on second edition. Okay, and I'm tired of telling people I have it done by such and such a day. But I take that information and cross it over, because the data in Races of the World is just that. It's information on the clinical side of it. But I take those races and bring them to life in the Elderbachian Chronicles in some cases. Okay, thereby giving a little bit more depth to them. And again, it links the writing together. Plus, of course, well, with Meet the Reticulans, you know, I go into it. I wonder if I've got this here. No, not that. Not when we go open. That's Races of the World. Then I scroll down to the Reticulans. Whoops. Didn't do that quite right. Well, I actually did it quite right. All the way back up here. Ink R. Should rearrange that. What do you think? Should I turn around and move? Because I'm redoing the book. Should I take the reticulans and then put the zeta reticulans right behind them? You know, and just call it reticulin zeta in order to keep them contained. Or leave them in complete alphabetical order. I'm thinking the former. I think you are. Shane. No. Oh, that's because I called them Zeta. That's why they were down there. Let's see if I'm right. I did. Okay. That's all got to be moved around, or more to the point, expanded. So we will move that around where we have to. But that will come in, that will come with the new edition. So that's set to go. Now I can minimize that and that. And here we are. Now, okay, I am down to the last minute and a half. So just a quick note again. I will be back at 8 p.m. tonight with Positive Perceptions. Okay, that's 8 p.m. PST. I do hope to see you all there. Okay, so thanks so very much for sharing your time with us. Really appreciate the input. You'd be amazed how much it actually helped me. Okay, with this in mind, until we meet again, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive